Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, Wednesday, 6th of October 2021, 9 p.m. here in Ireland, London, 10 p.m. in France. It's a very warm day in France. Look Charles' face. Looks like the winter is next door.
Fall is arrived and strongly.
Yeah.
Already here.
Fall has arrived here as well. Anyway, so good to have you all here. Thank you very much. Fayute, my Irish friends. And today we will talk about the basic works of Spiritism, which is like 1 hour is just to give a beginning of the explanation here, because there's so many things we want to say, we have to say. And anyway, let's leave in the hands of the mentor of this live here. He will conduct us as it should be, as needed. So once again, good night. Nice to have you all here, especially my 3 friends here. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys here. So Elsa.
Hello, my dear friends. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, as Charles says every day, every time. I'm here again, once more, on behalf of dear Master Jesus, Kardec, talking about this beautiful topic. This is a philosophy of life that is our dear Spirit's book and other works from Kardec. And we will share some thoughts with you. And I hope you all enjoy our time together. Thank you all. Thank you all, dear Charles, Silvia, Stevan, and our benefactors that are guiding these lives every week. Thank you all.
Silvia.
Okay, good evening, everyone. As always, it's a great pleasure and privilege to be here. And we start a meeting, and I'd like to lift our thoughts to God and to Jesus to be with us during this meeting, and so that we all may learn something good for our lives. And I'm very, very happy to be here with everyone. Thank you.
Hello, bonjour, bonsoir à tous. Heureux d'être là parmi vous de nouveau ce soir pour parler un peu de Kardec et des œuvres de base. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Very happy to be here again today with you. Thank you for joining us. We will talk a little bit about Allan Kardec and the basic works.
Wonderful. If you see in the comments any let's say deep information about the Spiritism, Kardec, you can find the link Elsa gave to us. It's a piece of art Charles gave to us on last Sunday about Allan Kardec, and the link for the video is there. So I highly recommend, after this talk, just watch the video. It's kind of will not complement, because we're doing like 1/3, 0.0% of the job, but it's a beginning. It's a beginning. Okay, so I want to say, so thank you, Walter. Thank you for being here with us. It's a pleasure to have you here, my friends. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was nice. It is nice to have you here with us. Okay. So let me share. Elsa asking me to share again the link of the video. So the link of the video, it is in the comment box. So there we go. Everyone now have the link in all platforms. Okay, shall we start? My little introduction here is, let's suppose we can comment about the basis of the Spiritism philosophy. In that case, we can comment on the grounds of Spiritism philosophy, and there is no other word to say. The Spiritism basis is like existence of God, immortality of the soul, law of cause and effect, reincarnation, plurality of the inhabited worlds, communicability of the spirits, and reason of faith. If we have to summarize Spiritism teachings, I would say these topics are the basis. And I don't know if you all agree. If you want to say something, my friends, please pick up. Yeah. Elsa, you're in the mute.
No, I said Charles.
Yeah, so if Charles, let's do this. Charles, your question is to talk about Allan Kardec. I know it's a difficult subject for you. I know that, but can you introduce to us this wonderful guy called Allan Kardec, please?
Yes, so it's okay. Thank you for the question. So I discussed a little bit about this quite a long time in this famous conference from last Sunday. Now I will try to summarize here a little bit, 15 minutes. So Kardec basically is born 1804, 3rd of October. So the last Sunday, it was 217 year birthday of Kardec, of Hippolyte Léon Denis Arrivaille, which was his birth name, Allan Kardec being a pseudonym. And he had not a very easy childhood because his father disappeared when he was 3 years. And then he was educated with a lot of sacrifice by his mother, grandmother, and uncle. He nevertheless had the opportunity to study in Yverdon with the Pestalozzi Institute, which was helped him a lot to be open-minded, and he was quite brilliant there. A lot of success, helping even Pestalozzi to teach to younger children. Then he went to Paris, so he had between 1822 and more or less 1840 a very strong career in the area of pedagogy. He had an institute, he wrote several pedagogical books, he wrote also documents for the improvement of public education in France, sent to the Ministry of Education at that time. So he really brought a lot of contribution in this area, but also participated to a lot of scientific societies of different aspects, and this gave him the opportunity to meet a lot of very well-known intellectuals of that time. Then he had some more difficult period, mostly because of financial reasons. His family was not so rich. There was also some problems with the uncle who lost a lot of money gambling, and so he had to sell this famous institute, unfortunately. So this decade between 1840 and 1855, he had some more difficulties to find a job, to something to do, to sustain the family, and so on. He nevertheless did it, a pension together with his wife family for girls. Girls did not have such education at that time. Then he also worked in some theaters, and then also he made the patent for a siphon and some technological stuff. And in 1855, he heard talking, 1848 was a phenomenon in Hydesville, which is well known, the Fox family house. And then this turning table fashion somehow, who made a turn around the world, including in Paris, of course. And he was heard first talking about the turning tables and the phenomenology in late 54, and 1855 is when he started observing and studying this phenomenon. And really what was different between all, because there was already more than 10 years people observing this phenomenon, the particularity he brought is, hey, indeed we get some intelligent answers through a table. So intelligent effects must have intelligent causes. And then he dedicated the rest of his life for studying this phenomenology and also to go to the causes. He was not trying to redemonstrate 100 times that the table are really turning or the phenomenon itself. He really started from the phenomenon, so immediately it was authentic. There was no tricks, nothing hidden behind. And then he really went to seek all the consequences, ethical consequences, moral consequences. Yes, we have a soul, we have a spirit, as we developed in previous spiritual light emissions. Yes, this soul, when we die, is surviving. Our personality is surviving to what we call the death. Yes, it is reincarnating. It was existing before this present life, and so on. So he drew really all these existential questions that you summarized a little bit, Stevan, at the beginning. And also that the souls can communicate with us through some particular persons, which are called mediums. We are all people belonging to the physical world because we are incarnated. We have a physical body. We have to wear some hot stuff when it's cold and so on. But we have also a soul. We have also a spirit, which in some cases can take some liberty with relation to this body. For instance, during the natural sleeping every night. And sometimes we keep some memories of that, or this can also happen in what we call the mediumship trance, where our soul takes some liberty and is then capable of communicating with the other souls and bringing it to the voice, to the writing, or to whatever different type of mediumship are existing. So this is what Kardec really brought as a teaching in his first book, which is the Spirit's book, which was published 18th of April 1857. And again, it's something really revolutionary. And that is the time when he didn't want to use his original name, Rivai, which was known in pedagogy and as I just discussed before. He wanted to take a neutral name, a pseudonym, in order not to bring something new. And this is when he decided then, for certain reasons, to use the pseudonym of Allan Kardec. And so Hippolyte Léon Denis Rivai became Allan Kardec at 18th of April 1857 at the first publication of the Spirit's book. So this book had then a big success for several reasons as well, because at that time the mainstream science and philosophy was not so materialistic as it is today. So there were some beliefs or some philosophies which were spiritualists, which were also taught in the schools, and this made such that the blockage we see today about coming from the materialist paradigm and education we received was not existing so strongly at that time. And this explains why this book had a big success at this since this first edition. So the book was spread around. He got a lot of feedback. He made also a lot of complementary investigations in different groups, different mediums, different places, different spirits, of course, complementing all these teachings until he brought a second edition of the Spirit's books in 1860, then the Medium's book in 1861 with all the practical aspects of the mediumship and experimental hints for experiments. Then he published 1864 the Gospel According to Spiritism, where he's just comparing and showing the big consistencies between the moral, ethical, and moral laws taught by the spirits, compared with what the message Jesus has left us 2,000 years ago. Then he wrote Heaven and Hell, which is the fourth one, talking about this question of heaven, hell, devil, angels, and so on, and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense in all this stuff. Helped me a lot to reformat my hard drive in the brain after the Catholic education I had when I was young. And the second part of the Heaven and Hell also extremely interesting, because it is something like 50 communications from spirits which are explaining what they became after their death, and also depending on what they did during their life. So it gives a kind of basis for the ethical rules which are consequence of the Spiritist philosophy, and also seeing the huge consistency again with the message Jesus has brought. Once, of course, we clean the Gospels from all this ash and dust and whatever which has been introduced by humankind along the centuries or along these 2 millenniums between the passage of Jesus on the earth and today. And the last book he wrote was the Genesis, where he developed several items, and Genesis is the last one he wrote, so it was 1.5 years before he passed away, before he discarnated, went back to the spiritual world. So there you have really the essence, the quintessence of Kardec's thought. And there are some sections in these books that you need to read 2 or 3 or 4 times to really understand the full content in it. And even when I read them again 20th time, I'm still discovering things that I did not perceive correctly at the first lecture. So, and then he discarnated in 31st of March, 1861, from a kind of aneurysm or heart attack, suddenly, because his mission was basically done. So that is what I could maybe summarize on Allan Kardec. Did I touch everything you were thinking about, Stevan, or shall I complement on something?
Yes.
Also, without going too far, to leave also some space for our dear colleagues we have today, Elsa and Silvia.
No, you touch it. You touched everything, because I want to give you the opportunity to introduce Kardec, and now I'm gonna play a short video. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I forgot.
I will just maybe add one thing, something that I told also during and that came basically also from the reading again the books of Léon Denis, which is a very dedicated apostle of Allan Kardec. And what Kardec basically did, what is really revolutionary, what is really disruptive in the Spiritist philosophy is covering subjects of soul, God, survival, death, and so on, which were normally the reserved area for the traditional religions, but on a dogmatic way. And Kardec took those and studied those subjects on the rational way with a scientific method. Yeah. So basically, he took the best out of the science, which is the methodology. He took the best out of the religions, which are all these philosophical, fundamental, existential questions, and eliminated the wrong side of both, which is the materialist paradigm of the science, and also the dogmatic, heteronomous method of the religions, and taking both together. So he founded really something new, out of the box, that we as humans have difficulty. Every time we ask, is Spiritism a religion? Is it a science? No, Kardec was very clear. It's neither, no, it's not a materialistic science, nor a dogmatic religion. So it's something out of the box. And we should really take it as such, as something revolutionary, disruptive, a new way of thinking, of studying the law which are governing the universe, not only material but also spiritual, and not make some gymnastic to bring that back in the boxes from the past.
Amazing. So before I play the video, I want to say hello to our friend Elsa in Stockholm. Good night for you, my dear friend, as well. Dr. Vanessa Celoni is with us. It's an honor to have you here, my dear friends. Thank you. Gabriel Inácio, thank you for your time as well. And we have a declaration of love here. Huh? Danny, come on, my friend. You need to speak in English. Come with us.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, my filho.
Yeah. Patrocínio, good to have you here, my friend. Thank you. Okay, so let's play the video here. Let's share my screen. So with that introduction about who was Kardec and what he did, now we're gonna see a short video about the Spiritism teachings. Okay.
By 1850, in the United States and Europe, the phenomenon of table turning had become very popular, crowding concert halls with hundreds of spectators who wanted to see such freely flying objects up close. It was also common in private gatherings within family homes. Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rivail, a renowned French educator, initially did not pay attention to such events. Rivail considered them to be possible outcomes of some unconsciously generated physical phenomenon by the participants themselves, thus being irrelevant. But after hearing from a friend who considered himself a serious person that the objects answered questions, he became interested because he saw in this detail something worthy of research.
I will only believe when I see this for myself. And when I am proved that the table has brains to think and nerves to feel.
After attending several of these meetings and reviewing dozens of past meeting records, Rivail concluded that the deep and complex answers came from outside intelligences to those who served as mediums at such meetings. It was necessary further and deeper investigations.
That left no doubt. My ideas were far from accurate, but there was a fact that necessarily followed from a cause. I saw in those apparent futilities something serious like the revelation of a new law, which I took to study in depth.
After testing and ruling out any possibility of fraud with the mediums he would use for his research, Rivail submitted to the spirits a series of questions aimed at elucidating problems concerning the philosophy, psychology, and nature of the invisible world.
First of all, I understood the seriousness of the exploration I was going to undertake. I realized in this phenomena the key to the obscure and controversial problem of the past and future of humanity. It was, in short, a whole revolution in ideas and beliefs. Therefore, it was necessary to work with the utmost circumspect and not lightly. Be positivist and not idealistic, so as not to deceive me.
Kardec formulated and tested several hypotheses in order to explain mediumistic phenomena, among them fraud, hallucinations, physical forces, somnambulism, unconscious clairvoyance, telepathy, and disembodied spirits. To reassure that the information obtained would be reliable, he used different mediums, distant and unknown to each other, for the crossing of the answers. The result of this extensive research was published in the Spirits book, April 18, 1857, It contained the principles of the Spiritist teachings on the nature of spirits, their manifestations, and their relations with men, the moral laws, the present and future life, and the future of humanity, written under the dictation and published by order of superior spirits by Allan Kardec.
When questioned about its nature, this force has declared itself to belong to the world of spirit beings who have divested themselves of the human corporeal envelope. In this way, the doctrine of the spirits has been revealed.
Details of the scientific method used by Reveil and about the superior spirits who communicated the Spiritist teachings will be seen in our next studies. Do not forget to check the description of the video for more research material. Stay tuned for the coming episodes.
Again,
love these videos.
wonderful job from our friends from Spirit Academy. I love the French accent since speaking English. I like it. So okay, good. Now we go to South London and let's talk to Mr. Gibbons, Mrs. Gibbons. My dear, we can say that free will, it's part of the divine laws. However, freedom exists before acting, and man is obliged to reabsorb the effects of the causes, which is the consequences of our actions, and to go through what he made, what we did to other people. And all these proportionate us go to an evolution. No, go to a better worlds, achieve better high spheres. Could you introduce us, because I know this is a topic of a lot of seminar, no? How free will acts upon ourselves.
Okay. Free will, God, that's a very complex. Well, it's not really complex, but it's something that one needs to think about. I started from this question from the Spirit's book about free will. It's question 843 of the Spirit's book, and it says, Kardec asked, "Has man freedom of action?" And he says the answer from the Spirit was, since he has freedom of thought, he has freedom of action. Without free will, man would be a machine. I think this, in this sentence, he says everything, how free will is what leads our lives, or should be the guiding force of our lives, of our thoughts, of our actions, whatever we do. It's very, very important, because this question is always something that people debate on, especially in such a times as we are living now, when there is so much, everything has to be black and white, my opinion, my truth, you keep hearing all this stuff. And we completely forget that we have freedom of thought. You can be in prison, in chain, in the darkest hole, but yet you are free, because you can think and your thoughts can take you wherever you want. And I think this, when we begin to understand this, we have the responsibility. I think you mentioned something about we receive the result of our actions, and of course we live with action and reaction. Whatever we do, it comes back in one way or another. But also, I think the question that once we understand that we do have that freedom, and our freedom, in a way, it can give us the opportunity to go and do whatever we want, but also we will have to have the consequences of whatever we have done. So I think when we start thinking and meditating on this, we ourselves will put boundaries in whatever we need to do, exactly because we will be learning the consequences of it. And we know that, as a child, we are guided by our parents and then schools, and we don't have free will as such because we're still very limited in our intelligence. And free will is limited to the level of intelligence that we have. Because if someone is mentally ill, he cannot decide things for themselves. They will need somebody else to do. And this many times is consequences of what we've done in the past, when we have abused our intelligence and have done things that harmed others and made their lives hard and difficult and everything. So a person may be deprived for a while of their manner of deciding for themselves. And I think I like very much to make a point here, because to me this is very, very important to understanding Spiritism. There is no such a thing as punishment. A person may be coming to a body that is a consequence of the past, and so they may be physically, mentally limited. And this does not mean that God is punishing them, but everything is a lesson. Everything is something that a new opportunity. And sometimes in our ignorance, we see, say, for instance, a child that have difficulties and so dependent and physically unable and mentally unable, and we think, oh, horrible. What I heard someone saying, I saw someone passing in the street with a child in a wheelchair, and the child was physically very, very needy, very lacking, very deficient physically, and you could see that mentally as well. And as I passed them, then I heard the two people talking and say, God, look what God has done to that child and those poor parents. And they made, I don't know if the parents heard it. I heard. I didn't know if the mother that was pushing the chair actually heard them, but it must have been extremely painful for them to hear it. But it's something that actually happens because we think that God is punishing us. And in many religions, the main religion, we know that is this thing, punishment. I think Charles mentioned when he was talking that he had to sort of restructure his power of thought to take away, all that teaching that had been ingrained in his head. And I think it's interesting because it reminded me of something that Samuel Beckett said, because being Irish and being very strict Catholics, that he said something like, you can take the man out of the church, but you cannot take the church out of the man, because even though you become completely intellectually free, there is always the nagging doubt that hell awaits. And I think this is one of the most beautiful and precious things in Spiritism, that we understand there is no punishment. And sometimes when you see a child in that situation, it means that they are receiving the greatest blessing that a soul can receive, the ability of this person may be a person who has done very many wrongs and have many enemies, and being there locked in that body for a while, it means that they are protected against a lot of enemies that could be attacking them. And also they in that body, they will not go and do anything wrong. And, you think about the lessons that Jesus gave us when he said to that man that, I think is the paralytic that was in the pool, he couldn't go into the pool because everybody went first. And Jesus healed him on Sabbath day in the temple and asked him to wrap his thing and walk away. And then he said, but do not sin again, or something worse will happen to you. And I think, that is Jesus, a lesson of Jesus saying, now you have been blessed with something, you being able to walk, because he hadn't been able to walk for many, many years. I think he was in his late 30s or something, and he was from birth. And then Jesus said, be careful, don't sin again. But he hadn't sinned in that life because he was born crippled. So the sin that he brought with him. So in that time, he was receiving a blessing of walking. And I think that's one of the things that we need to talk, to remember for ourselves, what are actions, because we need to realize that everything we do has consequence. So if we have a level of intelligence, that we have a free will, and is the most important gift that God gave us, because no one, absolutely no one, can imprison you, even if they imprison your body, but your spirit is free. And this is such a blessing. That's why I think, when you have, especially in this culture of celebrity and that we have to follow other people, and God gave us the privilege of not do that, to think about it. And I mean, in the Spirit's book, the Spirit teaches us all again and again, think for yourself, don't believe anything that people say, go and find out, start yourself, learn yourself. And that's why I think one of the things in Spiritism we say to start, to go and read, read it and read it again. And I think Charles pointed out that he must have read the books many times, and it happens to us all the time. Not, especially in the books, the basic books. Every time we read that, it's like you're reading a new book. I always find that. I remember being in a lecture once, and then somebody said, actually quoted one of the questions of the Spirit's book, and I thought, oh my God, I wrote down the number, and I said, I don't remember this. I didn't start this. I think I must have jumped this chapter because I can't remember this. And of course, I came home, first thing was got the book, and I went to read it. And of course, not only I had studied it, I had to put the date on it and made notes about the importance of the thing, And I thought, oh my God, I read it, I couldn't read it. So I started reading it all over again. And every time you read it is a new book, is a new knowledge, is a new learning. And I think that's why it's so important for us to really and truly read the basic books. It's such a joy. Every question is something new, is challenging. There is no substitution to get this book and actually read it. It's like having your soul transported to a huge school where, there is all these people talking and learning and discussing, and there is no wrong ideas. You can say what you think, and then you say, but have you thought this way or that way? So that's the joy that we really need to go to the basic books of Spiritism and don't believe anything that we say, but see it for yourself. And that's the freedom, I think, in the free will that guides us, that will guide our lives, because this understanding that life is precious, that every moment that we have is a moment that we can learn something. And even though life is very short, the life is eternal. And I actually, it's very interesting how sometimes, the materialistic point of view is so ingrained in people. I saw this, there was this program about science that is new. the scientists who is doing this study, how they can actually get the people's brain and put them in computers so the person can live forever. And I find it so funny, so fallible. I mean, of course, they're great scientists, they're doing wonderful things, and maybe they can put the knowledge into the computer, but they completely dismiss the fact that we have a soul, a forever perfecting entity that is there, that is, has the freedom of thought, has the freedom of will, has the freedom to decide what is best for it. And also to learn that whatever we do, it has its consequence, and we have to really learn. And I think that's why the opportunities of reincarnation, that we keep coming back to learn new lessons. And that's what it is lessons that we have to learn, is blessings that we received again and again and again, because we have many, many lives, because we are going through perfection, and through our thoughts, to our free will, to us disciplining ourselves, disciplining our spirit, because the spirit needs the discipline. We are going to achieve understanding and knowledge that will guide us for many, many, forever, really. And also with our actions, if we do good actions, if we decide to do good, we can bring other people with us. Jung said in one of his quotes, he said that humanity does not grow and progress as a whole, but be individuals within that humanity that will grow, and the force of the unconscious will bring others with them. And I think we learn this in Spiritism. We learn this, that if we do good, if we are sincere, if we strive. I don't think, we're not far away from perfection. But on the other hand, we are on the way to perfection. So, the wrongs of the past are the past. We are here now. Let's do better for the future. And I think that's what the guiding force be, to study these books and to make our life. And we will not only help ourselves, but we will help other people as well. So, in this month that we are studying the basic books, I would recommend you to, just get anything, maybe just a chapter and just read it. And you see that's, it's wonderful, because every time is a new thing. Every time you learn something different. And it's, this book, I mean, we're still far away from understanding it as well. Like, 150, 60 years ago, he was already talking about there is no vacuum in space. So scientifically, the scientific part of it is still challenging for us, even with all the knowledge we have. So our free will to study, to learn, and to be better is because our spirit is better. We'll be helping ourselves, and we'll be helping others that will come with us. So I think I finished now. Thank you so much. I get very enthusiastic.
I
And
know,
I can talk about the spirit.
This is why I said we need a seminar to talk about it.
I can talk about spiritism, all
Yeah.
night. I remember when we started studying, we used to spend the night studying and talking about it. So
Exactly.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you very much. And Elsa, my dear, one of the greatest topics about Spiritism, that's why I put it today, is we talk about Allan Kardec, free will, the next one is reincarnation. And the big question is why we can see reincarnation as that of God's mercy upon ourselves.
Good question. Okay, good question, Stevan. And reincarnation is not only in the domain of Spiritism. Reincarnation is a law, as a divine law, that so many millennia, other religions, other philosophies also use to teach about reincarnation, to think about reincarnation, some in a different ways. And Spiritism came to teach us about reincarnation in the most beautiful way, that God is merciful. Reincarnation brings to us the opportunity to learn what we are doing here, where we come from, and after this incarnation, this life, or where are you going? And reincarnation helps us to understand that everything that we are doing in this existence, this incarnation or reincarnation, will consequently have a reaction or other things in a following the reincarnation. So one of the beautiful things that now we can teach, for example, suicidal people that I think commit suicide, that you have the opportunity to talk with this person, and you bring reincarnation and show the reincarnation in these philosophy studies, how it works, how you can damage your body now, and you damage your perispirit, the format of your body now. You can bring in next incarnation consequences, the act that you are doing now against your own body, your own existence, that you don't really stop your pain. You even acquire more pain, more sufferings if you really terminate your life. That means euthanasia, abortion, homicide, and suicide. So the things that are against God's law. And the other thing that is good, that we can teach reincarnation since early ages for little children. When a dog die or something in your family pass away, you can teach this child or these young people that the life goes on. We have so many literature, and now in English as well, André Luiz books. We have Allan Kardec books, that is the basic works that started everything, as Charles pointed. That's not a science materialistic, that's not a philosophy of only here, a religious philosophy. It's something above of this box, that all the time religion, philosophy, science. No, it's a combination that brings other kinds of light towards humanity, so the humanity can receive this benefit and learn. And I always comment one phrase that I heard Dr. Andrew was telling here, one of our congresses. He mentioned twice, you, Spiritist people, in your humble Spiritist center, freely have classes and studies that should be Allan Kardec books. In the universities should be an academic studies, because this is a study for life. Is a studies really to change humanity, to change myself, to change my inner Elsa in a way that I will understand why I'm here, why I have sufferings, why I have problems. That is no punishment, as Silvia pointed very nice. There is no punishment at all. What we have lessons. We have lessons, and I don't call also mistakes. We have lessons. The lessons that the way that you have to learn. If you don't learn enough, we will again commit sometimes the same mistakes, and we will have the opportunity to reincarnate again and do what we have to do, perhaps in a different way. I am Elsa now. I have a home to live. I have my meals, my way to have my wages, my friends, etc. And I feel the call to do something good for humanity. And I say, no, I want to use my life to go to the theaters, to spend my money on holiday, blah, 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 blah. Okay, next incarnation, I will come to fulfill the same task, but probably in a poor community. I have to work a lot in order to work during the day and do my job during the night, or write things during the night, whatever. So it will be more difficult, but I have to fulfill the task in order to improve myself, my soul, my spirit, because we are individuals growing, evolving, and we can together evolve our planet and change the phase that we are now, planet of trials and attunements, né? Provas e expiações, and we will be a different planet where you not doing good is bad. For now, we are doing a lot of bad things, bad thoughts, gossip, stealing, murdering, a lot of things that laws of human laws sometimes cover, don't see it, make mock eyes, but from before God, nothing is hidden. Everything is under the light of benefactors, the workers from Jesus, that they are servants, they work in this planet in order to evolve, helping us, our guardians angels, spiritual familiar, or other spirits that are helping communities, cities, countries, and individualities, families, and they are working together in order to help us because God is merciful. That is the question. And reincarnation is a blessing because otherwise it was injustice to have a boy in a wheelchair, as Silvia mentioned, with so many difficulties to move, to see, to listen, even with palsy cerebral. And we are here to see this as a merciful way that God is giving to this spirit to stay in this kind of a body for a while in order to renew his own way, what he had done in the past. To think about, because out of the body, we see everything. We even know, oh my God, I have done this to my children or my family, and now I'm facing some difficulties with them. So we will acknowledge everything in spiritual life. To dreams, sometimes the dreams comes as a puzzle. It's difficult to understand the pieces together, but there are something there. Our conscience is still living. The body sleep, our conscience, our spirit out of the body, going to classes, to spiritual universities, or spiritual work, or helping the benefactors, or learning something, because when you are apprentice, you are learning. So I always pray to God when I sleep, then I leave my body lie down, resting, that I can still continue in work, because we are not tired when we work as a spirits. So that's it. My point that says reincarnation is a blessing. Thanks God that you have so many difficulties in our life, that there are lessons in another life. May happiness come toward us. But I am happy the way that I am. The person that has a problem with no wheelchair is as happy as it is, because he knows that God is merciful, and everything that happened with us, there is a purpose better than we think and we know. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. I put it here in the comment box, a link so you can download all the principal works from Kardec free of charge. It's a PDF. So let me put it here. Yeah, and this. So there is a link there from High Spiritist Federation, from BUS, in which you can have you can download the books free of charge. Okay, we want to say hi to Dr. Nadja. Thank you, my dear. She said hi to us. Yes, Alessandra Ribeiro. Good to have you here. Noemi. And Time Martinez. And our friends we have here with us. So, Hermina Silveira, thank you. Thank you all, my friends. Beatriz Gilles. So, thank you very much for being here with us. It's an amazing opportunity. We are just give some ideas about this wonderful, let's say, life changing. And if you have any questions, please, you can ask us. Meanwhile, I want to say, if any one of you guys have any more final comments or something like that.
Well, I'd like to point again what you comment in the beginning, the link where we have the most important lecture this last year, say like that, is Charles Kempf talking about Allan Kardec, the pioneer of science, philosophy, and spirituality. You have the link, so if Stevan can put here again, I don't think you put in the beginning, I think, will be wonderful because it's really, as pointed again, Dr. Andrew said, it's a university, it's academic study, and the research is amazing, really important for us. Okay? I think if you can share again, it would be nice.
Yeah, I'll put it here again. Let me get.
I put in the private one.
Yeah. Okay, so once again, it's there. Okay.
You put it in the video, as the banner, no? Is it possible to put the banner as a banner?
No.
Okay.
Ms. Gibbons, any final words?
No, I just, there's things that were talked about, free will, reincarnation, is all parts of that teach us who we are, where we came from, where we're going, the basic questions of life. I think, Elsa was mentioning something about that. And that's what we learn is life. And also it gives us the ability to see ourselves as the characters of our own history. We are who we are because we did this. We are not this way because somebody else's fault. They did that to me, or the tendency that we have always to blame somebody else for our wrongs. Oh yes, but if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have done it. No, you did it because you actually chose to do whatever somebody else said. And I think it's very important for us. It gives you self-confidence as well, because your decision, what you decide to do, is what will guide you. So think properly, think carefully, and think before you do anything. And because this is a good thing. It's brilliant, it's a guidance, and eventually one day we'll be all meeting together and we'll be all angels. I always see that. We see all talking together, oh, do you remember when we were there in that program at that time? Now we're all angels, because that's how I see me eventually. So that's
exactly.
it.
Great. Mr. Kempf.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's again, when we compare the materialistic view, we have only one life. After we die, we put us, somebody puts us we are put in a box and everything is finished and so on. So, okay, let's make use as much as we can from this only life, and we first and the other has after, and so on. This is narrow vision. And then, of course, when the dead is coming closer, it gives a kind of a panic. And on the other hand, you have this brighter view, this spiritualism, not dogmatic anymore, but as rational as any other science, studying all these questions, giving this bright view, lateral thinking, meaning of life, as Silvia just told, which is making us understand these laws which are governing the universe, where we will go to depending on what we are doing right now, explaining us what we should do, what we have to do, what is the best to do if we want to be happy. It's our choice to be happy today, or maybe to be happy only tomorrow, or be happy the next life. No, let's try to be happy as soon as possible and make everything which is possible as per our free will. Of course, we have to use this will. Everything is for free again. I mean, even the books are for free, as you just put the links now on the chat.
Mhm.
And okay, so it's what is the best, which gives you this patience, give you these huge resources to overcome the natural difficulties of life. What is the best philosophy? Kardec was always asking. Is it the one who explains nothing, or is it the other one who gives you a bright view and induces you to become a better person, to make the effort in this way? What is really the best philosophy? That's the question I'm questioning together with Alan Kardec.
It's wonderful. Let's be happy today. Today is the most important gift we have. Is today. Yeah, so let's go to our announcements. So our next talk will be fundamental guidance for life. So next Wednesday, 13th of October, fundamental guidance for life. Remind you, because this week, every time, 9:30 p.m. Brazil, we are having a special talk about the World Meeting of Jesus Friends with Chico Xavier and his legacy. And today's talk is with Geraldinho Lemos. This talk will have simultaneous translation, so feel free to watch it in the Buzz YouTube, the Spiritist Society of Irish Spiritist Federation YouTube as well, and many other channels like in Lithuanian channel. You do have it. So many other places are transmitting this live. Okay.
In half an hour, Stevan. In half an
Yeah,
hour.
in half an hour. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So in half an hour we will have it. So just a comment, because here we have like 9:30, but it's 10:30. Sorry. Okay, so it's the post here is wrong. It's 10:30 p.m. Our time here. Okay, so what more? For 6th of November, we will have Daniel Stiegel talking about Leon Denis. He will talk about the perspective, a new perspective of pain on pain. So it's a wonderful talk, and we are waiting for this talk at the beginning of November. Also in November, we will have the Spiritism Acts 2021, and the topic of this year is understanding our multidimensional journey. And if you are interested, please enroll yourself on the Spiritism Acts 2021.eventbrite.co.uk. Okay. Also, we can say that is a wonderful show, Time to Talk, with Guilherme Dias and Rafael Caldas every other week on Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. Okay, and these are conversations on mediumship. And last but not least, Kardec Group, they do have their Insightfully Speaking podcast. You can listen the podcast in all the podcast platforms, and also they support two groups in Brazil, one in Salvador, Instituto Sheila, Group Espírita Sheila, another one in Curitiba, Instituto Multirão. And if you want to help, just go to kardec.org.uk/high5 and you can contribute with them. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your time, for your inputs. My dear friends, thank you. Good. Always a pleasure to have you here. Share this moment with you all. And Slag, my friends. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you.
I'll see you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a good week, everyone. God bless.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All the
Bye.
best.
Bye.
Thank you.